Hello, Augies Worldwide. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, here with another episode of Ask Dave. We're continuing our little series about the updated Chameleon F loop. They had two F loops, the F and the P, or Papa. I have the Papa. This, which they've discontinued, this is one of the F-loop configurations, the F-loop version 3.0. Let me point out some of the features of it to you. This is sort of a top-of-the-line version. In a previous video, I showed you the basic. The basic uses the same capacitor tuning, a little thing to hold the loop up. This is the loop that couples to the big loop. On this particular one, they suggested that I keep this about a 1/4 inch away from this. So I stuck a piece of cardboard in there so they would stay apart. I don't want them flopping around or anything. The cable here has ferrite beads in it as a common mode choke to keep the common modes from going down to the radio. Okay? Now this has a switch on it, either 80 meters or 40 meters, and up here, or 30 up through 10 up here. And that just adds or subtracts a little bit of capacitance. Now, if you use the regularly supplied antenna elements, they would attach here. They are pieces of high-end coax, and we're using the outside of it as the transmitting element. But they short it so that the inside is there too, although that doesn't add much to the transmitting capability. They're really using the outside of it, and it's like an LMR 400 that's been put together. Now, as I mentioned, this is the tuning knob. There's a capacitor in here, a big one, and these attach across the capacitor. This tunes the capacitor. Now, on the basic unit, we have the coax. On this unit right here, we have these we have these aluminum tubes that are set up to attach. Now let me tell you why that's important. All antennas have two types of resistance. The first is ohmic resistance. The ohmic resistance we want to keep low. So we'll use like number 12 wire or something like that for an ordinary dipole. You could go 16 gauge if you needed to kind of keep it out of sight. Now, the other kind of resistance that is in an antenna is the so-called radiation resistance. Now, this resistance represents the load. It's not a real resistance, but it represents the load. This is the resistance through which the signal is transmitted. Now, if you look at an antenna, it has inductance and capacitance. Remember that reactances cannot radiate. So we have to have a resistance that will radiate, and that's the radiation resistance. Now, the problem with loop antennas like this is that the radiation resistance is very low, on the order of an ohm or two, sometimes even less. Okay, so if the ohmic resistance of this loop is high, and higher than the radiation resistance, then most of the power that goes into the loop goes into the ohmic resistance. The reason for using large metal tubes like this is to reduce the ohmic resistance as much as we possibly can. And then that way the radiation resistance dominates. If we were to test the ohmic resistance of this, it would be quite low, probably less than an ohm. So that allows the radiation resistance, which is an ohm or two at most. You match it with this network here, but that allows this to radiate. Hence the reason that these solid tubes are better. Now, when I say tube, remember that at RF, it's only the skin that is radiating. You go much inside the skin, you don't get much. So these tubes are just hollow, because what's hollow is not used very much in there. Now I've got this connected to my transceiver right here, and we're on 15 meters, and we're looking down here at different people who are calling me on 15 meters. Okay, we've had this one right here, K4YT, and this one is W9NT. Okay, and the system is calling CQ from me. So far, these two people have responded, as has this. So this was on 20 meters. So right now we're talking to CT3MD. And where on earth is that? I do not know. But this guy right here was calling me. I'm not sure I called him back. No. It says that because it came in on my receiving frequency. But what this does is when it picks up somebody that it wants to talk to, it'll bring up over here the QRZ profile for that person. And then through JT Alert, it's automatically logged into the N3FJP amateur contact log, which is their all contact log. Okay, so now we'll see what happens. The point being that this works. It obviously works. This is an extremely compromised antenna. I'm transmitting 5 watts, because I'm sitting right next to the thing, 5 watts to an indoor antenna, and I am still making FT8 contacts. So yes, it can work. Now, if you are going to Parks on the Air kind of event, this is a perfect antenna for you. Very easy to set up. In fact, you can have it fully set up in the back of the van. Put your table up, put this thing out on the table, put your rig and battery on the table, and you can adjust the tuning right here with this. Now, the tuning on it is quite sharp. If I cause it to transmit a tone, it's transmitting a tone. Now I look down at the SWR, and I can adjust the SWR until it's about 1.5 to 1. That's about all we're going to get on 15 meters. So I'm looking at this right here, the SWR. Now, one of the problems, of course, is temperature shifts and everything like that make it difficult. Now, also my assistant is putting a camera between us, between this here, so we have to retune it right there so it does the best it can with his arm, the camera, and the tripod in there. So to wrap up here, this is a very nice antenna. It's a little expensive. It's a unity gain antenna. This is the type of antenna that you would look for when the features of the antenna become important. One, if you are doing a Parks on the Air, you may not have anything to hook an antenna to. You could try a portable vertical. That would work. You could try something like the Buddy Pole. That would work. They're all different kinds of unity gain antennas, meaning they have about the same gain. The nice thing about the loop is you can set it anywhere. This is also good for people who have HOA problems and so on. They can go out in their backyard. We are now in a future video going to study some automatic tuning capabilities where you can do remote tuning of this thing to get what you want. Also, this comes in a different configuration that I don't have the parts for. Instead of the 7-inch loop, it has a larger loop, an 8-inch loop, and it goes up 4 feet around. This is 3 feet in diameter. The other one is 4 feet. Allows you to get some of those lower frequencies, as does the version of this that has a double loop. Okay? So, do I like the Chameleon antennas? They're great antennas. They're extremely well built. They get them out pretty quickly if they have it in stock. They're a small operation, so they can make things pretty quickly. Their manufacturing facility is in California, and their assembly facility is in Sparks, Nevada. And I've been to the Sparks, Nevada place. I made a YouTube video out of that. You can take a look for yourself. So, it is a good antenna, but unless you have a specific situation for it, a dipole is a lot cheaper and works just as well. Although, like I said, there are many times you can't do that. So, until we next meet, 73.